about the process of getting started with the lowest quotes, air quotes, in the real estate class, which is the vacant property. And when I'm talking about a vacant property, I'm not talking about something that someone moved out 6 months ago. I'm talking years. Stuff that's been sitting for years. Stuff that when people drive by or when they look at it, they like, there's no way that can come back. Or why would you waste your money? I'm talking the ugliest house on the block. That's where I've made my money at. That's where I've made my mark in real estate. That's how I got my foot in the door. That's how I stay in the door. And that's how I've continued to fortify my family financially through this investment space, is through the ugliest house on the block. My thing is to not be an ego investor and not look at these things as pretty or not pretty, as much as I want to look at them as if they have any form of opportunity to work. Right? So if we were looking at it from, I need to put this up on the internet or be beautiful, this was probably not going to be the best strategy. But if we're looking to create solid cash flow in a property that will be able to be free and clear, and when I mean free and clear means whatever money we put into it, we'll be able to recoup within a 4 to 5 year span, and then be able to cash flow monthly forever, right? That's been my whole mindset. That's been my goal. That's what I've done, and that's what I want to share with you guys, because that's what I'm most comfortable talking about, right? So this episode will cover those steps on how to go from abandoned property, a Bando, to a rental cash flowing property in under $50,000. Right? So that will be the max that I would say I was comfortable spending before I would say it's a bad deal. And I'm going to tell you personal experience how I did it. So as you can see, I got the notes out, guys. So that means this is important shit here. I got the notes. I want to make sure I'm talking for real. So first thing is finding a place that you're even able to buy a property for under $30,000. Right? That's the first thing. That's not everywhere, obviously. So here in Atlanta, Georgia, and in other cities like Chicago, New York, the LAs, you can't even buy a front lawn for that. You can't buy anything for that amount of money. So that forces a lot of people to go ahead and invest out of town, right? You have to invest outside of the city you live in. With that being said, you need to kind of understand the other markets around you. So take, for example, look at a New York and LA and Atlanta. Those are called primary markets, right? So those markets are where everybody wants to live. They get to pretty much dictate the flow of rentals, how much it is, all that other stuff. These are also your most expensive cities in the country, square footage wise, right? So if you're in a New York, LA, Chicago, Atlanta, San Francisco, Seattle, you get it? You're going to need to find somewhere that's outside of that primary city that you live in, that's preferably maybe a tertiary, but maybe a secondary, right? So it might be a secondary market. So for example, in New York, if you live in the New York metro area, you need to be looking at Baltimore's. You need to be looking at Camden, New Jersey's. You need to be looking at places like that you'll be able to get the price point you're looking for in order to make the acquisition make sense to get into this spot. So that's the first thing, right? So we're going to go ahead and identify whatever city is, call it a 3-hour drive around our city that we can get to Friday after work and be back in our home city Sunday night. So whatever amount of time you're comfortable driving to get to that, that's where you draw your circumference radius around. And those are the cities that you're looking for. I beg to say, right? 9 out of 10 times, because nothing is 100%. 9 out of 10 times, you could find a little town or city within that weekend drive radius of your place, right? So now you've done that. You've identified somewhere where you can get in. You can buy the ugliest house on the block, maybe even the ugliest house in the little town or city at that $30,000 price point, somewhere in there. Now, once again, remember, what you see on Zillow and a lot of these listing sites, a lot of times that might not be the ugliest thing there, but if it is, you have negotiation power because you're paying in cash and no one wants this shit, right? So keep that in mind. So if someone says they want 35 for it, you offer them 25. Keep in mind, it's hard to walk away from 25 thou wow, okay? So that person is in a spot. They obviously are either holding this property for business reasons or they just ran out of cash and can't do anything with it. Either way, you got a better shot at making some negotiation moves, right? So now, once you've identified that city, you've identified the ugliest neighborhood because everyone's telling you not to invest there, right? That area of town is, oh, no, don't invest there. Don't invest there. Because people are talking to you about investments like it's where you want to live. This is not about where you want to live, right? The thing about turning bandos into rentals is you have to remember that, unfortunately, people have to live in all types of circumstances, all types of environments in this country, right? So just because you don't want to live there doesn't mean that somebody else doesn't have to live there and only is comfortable living there. Your responsibility as a landlord is to give them a safe, clean, and the best available option that they have in that area, in that demographic, in that price point, right? But you put marble tiles in the middle of the hood, you're not getting marble tile money. You understand? So you need to have commensurate services and work for the amount of rent you're going to get back. Okay, so now you've identified that neighborhood that everyone's telling you not to go into. You're the real estate fireman or woman. You're running into that fucking burning area, right? For all intents and purposes, you're going there. You're going to identify houses. You're driving those blocks. You're driving those areas. First thing you're looking for is you're looking to see how many abandoned buildings are on a block. If there are more bandos on a block than actual rentals or occupied structures, bad idea. Unless you plan on buying the whole block and renovating the whole block together, you're just going to get a victim of all types of crackhead vandalisms. They're going to snatch all your fucking shit out immediately. The only people on that block are there because they are the local snatch outs. Do you understand? So they're just waiting for you to fix it up enough to go away for the weekend or for the week. When you come back, everything's going to be gone. So don't do that. Look for a block where you could tell there's some aunties, grandmas, people who have been there for a while and they've held on to their houses, but maybe around them has got fucked up. But you can tell that these people go to work. How can you tell? It brings you to the next part. When you identify an area or a street or maybe even a house that you like, you're going to have to start driving up and down those blocks day and night, multiple days.